This is phase 4, and it looks for applicable variable arity methods. And if you got this far, it means you haven't found any applicable method. And what this does is it looks at these potentially applicable methods, and it discards any that are not variable arity. So it's only the variable arity ones that are being examined. Okay, so it only looks at variable arity. And if every parameter in the call can be converted by method invocation conversion to the corresponding type in the method declaration, then the method is called an applicable variable arity method. That's applicable. And now, of course, at the last, that's the variable arity argument, corresponds to all remaining parameters in the call, and there may be none, of course. And if there are no applicable methods, you haven't found any method that's applicable, then the compiler will give you an error because there's no corresponding method anywhere. Okay, so let's look at some examples to show what applicable variable arity methods can look like. So here's a few types I've defined. Here's some calls down here, and here's the corresponding method declaration. And I've not bothered putting a return type in or any body to this or anything else. In fact, I probably could have left most of these argument names out, they only get in the way. So I'm only showing you what's important. It's important to this test. And if we look at this, we've got a call to a method there, and a potentially applicable method there, and of course it is applicable because this parameter x there is basically an integer array, and if you call it with that, it will be an integer array of length 0. So that is an applicable method for that call. What about this one? Well, I is a type integer, int rather, and int can be boxed to integer, so that first parameter is okay. What about the next one? J is an int as well, and that can similarly be boxed to integer. And this integer thing up here is a reference, so certainly you can assign null to it. And I is already of type integer, so that's fine there. So that method is applicable for that call. Okay, this call is A, B, and C here, which are type C, and we got C there. That's fine for the first one, and everything else is going to be S. And C certainly extends S, so you can widen it to S, so that's no problem. And what about S and T? Type S, so that's okay. Well, what about this? 1 and serializable. Might puzzle you at first, but 1 is a literal, it's an int. Int can be boxed to integer. Integer implements serializable, so you can certainly widen from integer to serializable. Widening just means going up the tree, of course. So that's fine. What about 2? Is 2 of type object? Yeah, by the same reasoning. 2 is an int. Int can be boxed to integer. Integer can be widened all the way up to the top to object. That's no problem. I is an integer. It's about the same reasoning. Null, yeah, of course, null is certainly can go up to the top. So that method is applicable for that call. What about this? Is A of type W. A is of type C. C implements W, so yes, you can widen that to type W. Widen C to W. 1. What about that? One integer, yep, you can box to get that. W of type W, yep. What about B? B is of type C, and again C as W, so that's fine. W to W, that's fine. C is of type W, so that's C implements W, that's fine. II to long. II is integer. Integer can be unboxed to int. Int can be widened to long. So that's no problem. So that's applicable. What about this sort of thing? IA. IA is an int array. And what have we got here? Well, that's an int array is required, so yep, that's no problem. X, of course, being an array of int arrays. An array of length 1, in fact. We'll just add it. What about this? IA there and there, that's no problem. That's just a straightforward assignment, basically. And IA and serializable. Yep, because all arrays implement serializable. So that certainly works. Okay, so what about this down here? There's an int array there and that. Well, yeah, this is applicable, but it's not applicable by variable arity methods. It's applicable by subtyping. We did that in phase 2. And that's because X is basically an int array, and that's an int array, so it's just simple ordinary assignment. So that's a little trap to watch out for. Sometimes people think that because that's a variable arity method, it's only going to be done in phase 4. That's not the case. It can be done right at the beginning. So just be aware of that. Right. Okay, so now we've found applicable methods. Methods applicable by variable arity. Now, if there's only one applicable method that we found, then that's it. You've got the method. And if there is more than one, you've got to go to the next phase. And if there's none at all, well, then the compiler will give you an error because there's no method that's applicable.